r/AskReddit. Which character death hit you differently, and why? That girl from the bridge to Terabithia. That hit me so hard as an 8-year-old. A kid in my elementary school who was really smart and way above reading level had his 7th birthday party to go see this movie. Invited the whole class. But he was the only one who read the book. The rest of the party was just a bunch of parents trying to console their weeping children. One girl was crying so hard she threw up. Hank in Breaking Bad and Walter's face afterwards just matched mine. I mourned Mike for a few days as well. On the upside, Mike is a main character on Better Call Saul and he is just as awesome. Ben from Scrubs. He wasn't even a major character, but at the time he was Dr. Cox's only friend. The only one who made him a joyous person, and that gut punch of a twist was something else. Where do you think we are? Yeah, that episode was really iconic and gave us a unique perspective about grief. Let's also not forget the Scrubs episode After My Lunch, the 3 organ donor patients, and the one about George, the guy with ischemic bowel disease, dying. Who Turk and JD give up their steak night for. Also my 5 steps. All of them gave damn good perspectives and grief. Amazing show. It shattered me when Brooks died in The Shawshank Redemption. His monologue is amazing. Absolutely, one of my all-time favorite movies. For this and many other reasons, I don't like it here. I'm tired of being afraid all the time. I've decided not to stay. Heartbreaking. Boxer, from Animal Farm. He worked so hard his whole life and to be sent to a glow farm while his best friend screams and runs behind him. Chills, man. That made me sad too. He was one of my favorite characters in Animal Farm. Arthur Morgan. He was a good man who was dealt a bad hand. Really sorry for you, son. It's a hell of a thing. Still choke up over this game. Mus Hughes from FMA for me. It's a terrible day for Rain. Count Olaf in A Series of Unfortunate Events, the books. Just something about a man so shaped by his own misery becoming a figure of cruelty and greed, relentless in pursuing the misery of others. He believes all people are this way in reality, and cannot see through the darkness, uses intelligence and skills for good. Then he just dies, unredeemed on a coastal shelf, and no one has anything to say. That's also what I liked about the books as a kid. There was an underlying message of, sometimes terrible things happen and there's not much you can do about it, but try to get out the other side kicking. Stoic from How to Train Your Dragon 2. Not so much the way he died, but the funeral scene, the music and the recital by Gobber. Oh yes, this is the one. He just got his wife back. Family's all happy and then he dies. I didn't want to rewatch that movie for a long time because of how sad I felt about that. John Marston. He suffered so much in an attempt to move on from his past, killing all of his former comrades in the process. He finally reunited with his wife and kid, gets a small glimpse at a new life, and then he's shot down in front of a barn like a damn dog. Was painful to watch. Doubly so after RDR2 came out. That horse and the never-ending story. The Iron Giant. Give me a good growling voiced Superman and I start to tear up. He did live though. Yep, literally the last shot of the movie is of his decapitated head opening its eyes and smiling. Actually it's kinda creepy when you put it that way. Boromir. First time I ever cried during a movie. Washburn in Serenity. He was my favorite character from Firefly, and I just wasn't expecting it at that point in the movie. When Kaylee says, "Wait, where's Wash?" Fry's dog in Futurama. That episode was so heartfelt and I just couldn't. Perhaps it hits different for me cause my mom is a big Packers fan, but the episode about Fry's mom always makes me tear up. When Lee died in the Walking Dead game, that shit made me cry. Honestly, that whole episode 5 where everyone starts dying and leaving and getting split apart, all for it to end with Lee and leaving Clementine alone, absolutely devastating. Sam, the dog, in I Am Legend, because he was Will Smith's friend and he had to put her down. And the last part of his family left. Cedric Diggory, but it's his father's reaction that even remembering strikes cold fear and dread in my soul. Probably being a father myself causes it to resonate. My boy. The actor who played Cedric's dad really sold that scene. It gave me goosebumps on my first watch, and every rewatch still gets me. The anguish in his voice is truly brilliant acting. Thomas J. from My Girl. When Vada is crying at his funeral, screaming about his glasses. That hits different. Gets me every time. He needs his glasses. He can't see without his glasses. Ugh. Still cuts. Captain K's death in Jojo Rabbit. Watched it last night expecting the mom to die, but the captain's death made me tear up because it was unexpected. The mom's death got me. I knew there had to be a reason they kept focusing on her shoes. Sarah Lynn from BoJack Horseman, especially as you find out more detail of that night and later seasons. Ellie from Up. Miso is relatively quiet and I'm the complete opposite, energetic, always have something to say. We're been together for 10 years now and met at 16. I worry that we can't conceive children someday, and that's partly because of a pretty bad miscarriage I had years ago. In turn, I worry about him being lonely and even quieter if I die first. It was a hell of a thing when Spark died. Hell of a thing. Live long and prosper. Logan. Cause I literally grew up with those movies and that character. When I went to bed after seeing it for a second time, I just cried. Probably cried to sleep. It was as if my childhood ended there. Mufasa in The Lion King. I was going to say the same thing. Simba seeing his dad dead, crying and talking to him tear-filled and cuddling up to him is the biggest punch to the gut I could get. The dad in the book The Road. Maybe because my son was born just a month earlier, but it was incredibly sad. The father tried so hard to live, to care for his son, who is now alone, in the cold, devastated. Legion, on ME3. That is heartbreaking. More if you choose to kill him. The Princess Shireen. I had to take a break from Game of Thrones after that one. Palsy on Orange is the New Black. She was one of the few characters I really cared about on the show, and her death was just so unnecessary and realistic. Just devastating. Loki in Infinity War. Not because of some great affinity for the character, but because I was absolutely certain that he was the one person who was safe from being offed. Of course, he not only died, but he died first. Greed from Full Metal Alchemist. Greed may not be good, but it's not so bad either. You humans think greed is just for money or power, but everyone wants something they can't have. Greed had the most selfless death, and damn did it hit home. He and Ling have such a good dichotomy, so I was really sad to see him go. Ling himself is an example of why greed isn't always a bad thing. He wanted power for the right reason. Bobby Singer. Honestly, I hate how people will have a million excuses for their father but completely brush aside the man who clearly loved them and willing to throw his life for them without a second thought. Even on his deathbed, he seeks to give them comfort, more than their father ever did. Charles from Henry Stickmin. You know why. Nell in Haunting of Hill House. The whole Bent-Neck Lady episode and the funeral episode were absolute TV masterpieces. The realization of what happened is heartbreaking. He was already technically dead, but Ben Hargreaves from Umbrella Academy. Opie, Sons of Anarchy. Just why? Hedwig, IDK. Hedwig was there from the start. Ken Miles in Ford v Ferrari. He never got his full recognition, although the nod from Enzo was huge. Bro, I thought you were talking about Hedwig and Harry Potter. That one got me in the feels. Lenny in Of Mice and Men. Mordin Solus. Ragnar, from Vikings. He was the one aspect that balanced everything. After he went, their community went to shit. Also, he used his head to lead. Hvitserk and Ivar were stupid leaders concerned with superficial things. And Bjorn was still much better and wiser. But anyway, after Ragnar left, I kinda got depressed, man. What a character. Koro Sensei from Assassination Classroom. That hit harder than the beginning of Up. Cedric. He was cool. Plus the kill the spare part was pretty messed up. Really told you how heartless and cold Voldemort was. Glenn Walking Dead. Rue getting speared and having Katniss sing to her? 12-year-old me couldn't handle that trauma. Rudy, the book thief. We read the book in middle school English, then watch the movie. The entire class was sobbing because we had studied this book and fallen in love with the characters. And to see it brought to life was just heartbreaking. Great book and movie by the way. Edit. Thank you so much for the awards. Mellish from Saving Private Ryan. It truly captured the brutality of war and the effect it has on individual human beings. John Shelby. There will never be a character that has more swagger and is as reckless as he was. Marley from Molly and Me. Bruce Willis in The Sixth Sense. My dumbus never saw it coming. Bambi's mom. I was like 3. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.